Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. It's your boy, Jonathan Loudermilk here, your host with the most. And as always, I have my partner in crime, Mark, the fitness ninja Zalmanoff here, help me steer this ship to getting what you're worth. And with today's episode, I'm not going to ruin the surprise. I'm going to let Mark do the grand revealing, but we've got a damn good guest on today, and I'm excited to have him share his story today. But how are you doing, Mark, before we introduce this mystery guest?
I'm great. I was thinking about this before we got on, like this guest is completely unique in our space. And, we brought a ton of fitness people on this podcast so far, this has been totally awesome, but this person serves such a unique role. And I'm really excited to let him share his story and understand why his business was created and how he's really helping our industry in a really, really powerful and impactful way.
Absolutely. So without further ado, you want to do the special honors, Mark?
Yeah. This is a real quick intro here. This man is the creator of the FiPro Mentorship Review, which is the only place on the internet for fit pros to read unbiased reviews of business coaches. We're coming for you fakes out there. Before they invest, which is holy Lord, if we had more of this in the world for all kinds of business coaching, not just the fitness world, man, I think less people would be duped into some bullshit. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Morton, happy to have you with us, AJ. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. It's a long time coming. So just super grateful to be on here with you guys.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have three busy people. Like we've been trying to do this for a couple of months now. We finally got him on here. So before we roll into all the goodies, you know the drill. We start this thing off with a funny story. So what you got for us?
All right. So I was in the fitness industry for 14 years before I started working on my group. And at the time I was doing in-person training. And I had this one girl who was a client of mine for over a year. And I don't know why, but every single time I had her doing jumping jacks, she would be farting during the jumping jacks every single time. And she wouldn't really tell me like not to have her do jumping jacks anymore. But like I started trying to avoid them too, because I think farts are absolutely hilarious. But I'm also a professional, so I was like trying to maintain my composure during these sessions with her. But it seemed like no matter what, whether it was like jumping jacks, I tried high knees, I tried burpees, and nothing was going to do it for her. It was all about farting during bouncing. So I ended up having to change my entire formatting for her whenever I trained her, and we avoided bouncing altogether. So we could just be super comfortable with that.
So I got a question. Were they loud toots or were they silent but deadly toots?
No, they were loud.
Oh, they were loud toots.
Yeah, they were loud. Oh yeah.
Well, that's even better.
Yes, they were definitely loud. They didn't smell for some reason, so it wasn't like the gross kind of awkwardness, but I don't know. I just wanted her to tell me, hey, like maybe I shouldn't bounce anymore. one of us has to put it out there.
I think the worst fart story I had was I had a client when I was at 24 Hour, and I was helping them do like single leg squats on the TRX, and I'm down there like kind of helping manipulate the bending at the knee and the hip joint and all that stuff, and he ripped freaking ass right in my face when I'm drop knee, and I look at him, I go, really, dude? I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, I'm right here. There's no distance. Like, give me a heads up, like the canary in the tunnel or something. Like, just let me know that the smoke cloud's coming. I can back off for a second. I'm cool, but like, no more farting in the face, please.
So great. I had this older gentleman in my gym for a while, and he would do it from time to time. He'd be like, whoop. He'd be like, we're just talking politics over here.
There you go.
Every time. It's so great. All right. And by the way, if you're listening to this, Drewby Wilson, farts are always funny. We got a buddy that's what he says all the time. Anyway,
Oh, nice.
So let's get into a little bit about what you do, AJ. You have created this amazing Facebook group that's a safe haven for fitness professionals to go in and be able to see honest reviews of other people that are doing business coaching in the fitness space. To me, like, that industry has grown tremendously over the last several years as online coaching has grown. And there's a lot of coaches that think they can help people grow their business. So they go, oh, well, I suck at training, so I'm going to go and ask people to invest shit tons of money and I'll provide them with nothing. So I've heard your story, but I want you to share a little bit about how you came about forming this company, forming this Facebook group, and then we'll kind of go from there.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank you for that. And so, first of all, yes, it was born out of an epidemic of, seemingly overnight coaches coming out of the woodworks after not being successful personal trainers. But I'll start at the beginning. So for me, that journey started about 4 or 5 years ago when I was in Chicago at the time, where I'm from. I met my wife, and I was running my own small group women's program out of a studio in downtown Chicago. And, I have a wife and 2 kids, so I'm just like anybody else. I'm trying to up level my lifestyle. I'm trying to up level my life, and I want to provide a certain lifestyle for myself and my family. And so, business was okay, but I was like, I'm not a business person. I want to know, what I can do to really increase this and run it like a business and ascend myself upward and out of this business so I can actually have the lifestyle that I want. And so at the time, the only way to really choose a business coach was basically looking at your Facebook feed. So whoever was already in your bubble, that was pretty much what was out there. There was no centralized place where you can go and see who's doing business coaching and what do they like, and are there reviews or anything like that. But you'd be following someone on your feed, they DM you or you reach out to them, and that was it. And so I started talking to this guy who I was following, who's based out of the UK, and he was super smooth talking. He had a aspirational life that I found really attractive. He was living he was moving to Barcelona and like all these things, and made it seem very, very light and breezy. And I reached out to him because he was being a really successful online coach, or at least appearing that way online. And we started talking, and eventually we got on a sales call. And I said, hey, look, I also want to be a better coach. Like, I don't want you just to help me with business, but I want to get the results that you're getting for your clients too. Like, I want to know how to help people, more. And he's like, yeah, we'll take care of all that. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to be a great coach. You'll be able to get the results that I get, and you'll build a great business. And he's like, it's 8K. I'm like, cool, super reasonable. By the way, we have no money at the time, dude. We got pregnant super early. We were living beyond our means. This was going to go on credit card, no matter what it costs, literally. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, my wife just left. I'm gonna get off the phone, and I'll let you know. Got to talk to my wife. He's like, if you get off the phone, it's 12K. I was like, wait, so I have to go talk to my wife, or I'm gonna get divorced, which is gonna cost me much more than this $4,000 spread you just created. But okay, I guess I gotta do what I gotta do. So I got off the phone, went and talked to my wife, who was super supportive. Like 8K, 12K, to pay one time, to make 10K recurring every month. That's the dream, right? That's the promise. Gladly do that. So my wife is super supportive. She's like, yeah, sure. It's going on credit cards anyways. We don't have this money, so we're going to go do it. I don't recommend that, by the way. Don't recommend doing that. But, investing in yourself is never a bad idea. So we went ahead and did it. And as soon as we got into the program, the deliverables were just like almost non-existent. He's in the UK, so there was barely any time where we were able to chat at the same time and get enough feedback. There were no calls. I ended up getting like a 1 weekly email from him that had like a video embedded in it, and it would just be an hour and a half or 2 hours, like pre-recorded thing of a random topic of that week. And I just felt really, really let down because of just the lack of support, the lack of deliverables, and the incredibly high price tag. I thought this was going to be world class. Like, for 12K, you should fly to the UK. You should fly from the UK to the United States to Chicago and help me build this business, because I'm pretty sure I just funded that for you. The one thing that I, unfortunately got out of that program, which I guess you could say is an ROI, but not the kind that I want, I ended up selling this poor girl into like a $3,000 high ticket 12-week program that I didn't know how to deliver on, because he didn't deliver me what I needed about being a great coach and providing great services. So while I made $3,000 in that program, I really underserved her, and I ended up spending a lot more time with her in order to make that up, because I felt bad. So that 3-month program turned into like 6 months, and I wasn't charging her, and after that, and it was just not how I want to do business. So off the back of that, I was like, man, had there only been a place where I could have like done some research and looked this guy up and maybe read some reviews that weren't handpicked, I might have been able to, I may have still made the same decision, but at least I could have made a more educated and better choice about that investment before I felt I had to make it.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this group. I'm going to call it FiPro Mentorship Review. And it's just going to be a safe place, an environment, and a platform for coaches like myself and PTs to just be able to talk openly about their experiences in mentorship programs, in courses, using software, in certification programs, literally anything you could buy. I just wanted it to be a place where people can discuss it without fear of any retribution or word getting out. So I didn't allow any business coaches in. I don't allow any staff of business coaches in. Anyone who sells anything to FiPros isn't allowed in the group because I want people to feel really comfortable with that. So based on the back of that, I went back to my fitness business. I set the group up. It grew really well organically. We got promoted by John Goodman and the Personal Training Development Center group. And he was a big advocate for it because he recognized that gap too. And so I'm super grateful for him. But I went back to my business and the group was there and I would moderate it once in a while, chime in. I would do membership approvals and vet members to make sure there was not a business coach in there. But it wasn't doing anything for me aside from, making an impact in the industry, which is great. But funny enough, on the back of that, when I started the group, a whole bunch of people from my same mentor, from my same cohort came in and left very similar reviews to mine. And I'm like, man, like I'm not alone here. This is clearly an issue. I don't think we, as the cohort in this one guy's program are alone either. And so people started to come in and just leave these reviews about how they're getting ripped off and how these people are just taking their money. They're doing fast action pricing and they're putting a lot of pressure on people and they're just getting them for whatever they can take as much money up front as they can. And then just really dropping the ball when it comes to delivery. Mm-hmm. And so it made me feel better knowing that I wasn't alone, but it made me feel even worse knowing that this is an epidemic and I really want to have an impact on this. I just didn't know how to do it at the time. And so I went and I ended up hiring a great business coach who was able to help me with my business, several of them actually. But a couple years into that, down the line, I realized that my business was left really exposed to members leaving without any kind of safety things in place for me. I didn't have very good contracts in place. I let my clients kind of call the shots on pricing and agreements and things like that. I was just here to please, and I was not a great business person, so I just wanted to help people, and I'd do deals with them all the time, and it left me really exposed. And one summer, because I work with women, I had a lot of moms change their schedules up to deal with their kids' schedules, and I just couldn't recover from that. So I ended up dumping a ton of money and time and energy into my fitness business, trying to recover it, trying to save it. And I funnel hacked people. I was copying programs. Like I know all the stuff's out there and I can get my hands on it. So I was doing all that stuff. And it wasn't happening. My business was going down and there wasn't much I can do about it. And in the process of spending all this time and money, I was really taking a lot of time away from my family and specifically from my wife, because I was focusing on trying to give them the lifestyle, but in doing so, I wasn't paying any attention to them. Right? I was trying to pick up the scraps of this business. And so, long story short, my wife and I started having marital problems because I just wasn't there, and I was trying to save this business. And I ended up having to make the choice of like, am I going to save my marriage, or am I going to really try and save this ever struggling business that just seems to want to go down? And I made the obvious choice and the right one. We're still, married today and stronger than ever. I went with my marriage and let my business went ahead and tanked. And I was just kind of like down for the count. I was kind of jaded. I was like, look, I don't know what I'm going to do next, but this business is going there. And I'd much rather save my family and my marriage and go that route. And one of the things that come out of saving my marriage was the fact that my wife actually wanted to join the coaching industry as well. She was a personal trainer too. And she's like, you know what? We've been investing in you for the last 5 or 6 years. I want to find a coach for myself and I want to invest in me. And I was like, dude, feel free, because I'm good right now. I need a minute. I just, I've never not been able to make money. I've never had a business go down like that. So I'm like, cool, let me step aside and you can go do your thing. So my wife, I let her pick her own business coach. And it was another super smooth talking coach out of the UK. It was a female this time. And very similarly, we put $12,000 across credit cards with money that we didn't have. and the deliverables were almost as non-existent as my experience was. Except this one was even worse because this person actually recognized that she shouldn't have taken my wife on as a client just because of her beginner, status, and said that we'd have a refund by Christmas of 2018. It's August 12th, 2021, and that refund is still coming supposedly. So that didn't happen. It speaks to the integrity of this coach and what's going on in the industry. But on the back of that, very similar to my story, my wife went ahead and found an amazing business coach at the time who got my wife into a six-figure fitness program. She was able to build it from scratch on her own. And then my wife moved us from Chicago to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas to San Diego, California, where we are right now and where we've always dreamed of living. And basically, again, the group has always been there. But I basically spent a year and a half of that time trying to figure out what I was going to do, what I was going to contribute. I didn't want to do fitness anymore. I was very jaded. Didn't want to talk about health and fitness. I didn't want to deal with clients anymore. I was just kind of over it. And so I ran some Facebook ads for some real estate agents. I did do a little bit of online coaching myself too at the time, which was left over from my in-person business. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm super depressed. I don't have depression, but I went through a 6-month period where that's 100% what I was. I've never been in a darker place in my life. Super heaviness on my chest, a lot of pits in my stomach, just this dark cloud of energy over me every single day. I just couldn't figure out what I was going to do, how I was going to contribute to my family and to the fitness industry, and just what I wanted to do with my life. Because being a stay-at-home dad, while amazing for most people, it just wasn't going to be it for me. I couldn't do that. I had to go back to work. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But every time I go into this group and help, I feel energized. I feel really great about it. And so I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go in the group, and whatever happens is going to happen. And so I started going into the group, and I realized that, these people, all they're doing is complaining about the bad experiences that they're having. Nothing's really changing. The bad experiences are still being had. So I said, I'm going to start making an effort to go out and find and be proactive and find the high integrity business coaches, the courses, the products, and the services, and bring them in and promote them within the community so that people don't have to look. I'm going to bring them right here. And so now this group that was growing to probably 3,000 people at the time, 3,500 people at the time, can be exposed to high integrity mentors while they're looking for, the unbiased reviews on the other mentors who might be marketing to them. They're on their radar, or they're being marketed by some guru and they want to know who it is. That's all cool. But I'm also going to go a step ahead and be proactive and find people who are doing a great job. And so I started making relationships with high integrity business coaches, and I vet their program for deliverables to make sure the deliverables are as they are advertised up front. I'm in their support communities to make sure that the support is being given as advertised, make sure my members are being taken care of. I even vet their contracts to make sure that the contracts are fairly balanced between the mentee and the mentor. So I've kind of turned into this customer service liaison between these mentorship programs that I back, because I've literally been through them and I know that the deliverables are there, and my members who are just great coaches and PTs looking for similarly great products and services and just are having a hard time finding that match for them and their businesses. And that's kind of been how it has been for the last, over a year and a half now, where we started energizing the group with great high integrity coaches. And now it's a matchmaking game where I create triple wins by, I get served by being able to create relationships and matches between great coaches who are just looking for great business coaches. And it's an awesome time, honestly.
So first off, I'll say, man, dude, that's an awesome story. Me and Mark talk about this a lot, is life doesn't happen to you, happens for you. It definitely feels like it's happening to you in the moment.
Yes.
But when you look backwards and you see the dots connect, and it's wow, that had to happen to move me in this spot where I'm able to do something that I never thought that I would actually end up doing. So first of all, the kudos to you for that. And, it sounds like you've had a similar experience to me, at least. I know Mark has hired a bunch of mentors over the years. My first mentor I got when I was brand new to online, I went through the same experience, AJ. And I spent about 10 grand with that deal, but then I continued to spend another 20 grand on all the gizmos and the shiny objects. And that was back when doodle videos were the thing, dude. I don't know if you remember that, but I thought the doodle video was going to do it. That was what was going to get me to the top. And I was like, it's $2,000. Okay, here you go. I just want to win, right?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I was angry and bitter, man. I was so angry at those coaches that sold me and didn't give me this. And it wasn't until going through that process of growing to where I'm at today that I realized, like, man, it was my fault at the end of the day, because I wasn't clear on what I wanted, and I was paying this person money hoping that they were going to fix me, which they couldn't. No website's going to fix the inside game that you have. And that was a big growing moment for me. So I share all of that because I'd like to hear from your perspective, going from the bad coach to like, dude, I found the right one. What would be some of the advice that you would give a fit pro, like what to look for like good signs? And then what are some of the bad signs when they're looking for a coach?
Yeah, no, so that's a really good question. So I actually have, like, for people who are interested in joining my group, when they sign up to join, they get my 5 signs of a Sham mentor cheat sheet that I created for people.
Okay.
So they have that. I know, right?
It's a great name.
Pretty good.
It's so fitting. So one of those things, obviously, I think is a really, really big deal. Like, pay attention to how they come to you, right? How are they approaching you? What are they using to get in front of your eyes, and what's working for them? So if if they're using flashy things, they're always standing in front of Maseratis and jets, does that say something about them as a coach, or does that say something about you as an uninformed consumer? That someone not even talking about their coaching program, but just happened to be standing in front of an expensive car or whatever, do you really want to buy their stuff because it looks like they've sold a lot of things? Or do you want to buy their stuff because you really like them as a person, and you know that their clients are doing really well, and they're serving people well? So I always pay attention to how coaches are coming to you. Also, if they show up in your DM and they were uninvited, what do you think you're going to be doing in their program?
Right.
Right? Like, if that's their tactic, cool, nothing against it, but make sure that is something that aligns with you and what you want to do in order to get prospects coming into your DMs and into your sales pipeline.
Right.
So I'm very, very mindful of how I'm marketed to. I stay away from flashy things. I don't recommend, if someone does fast action pricing with you, for me, that's enough of a red flag where it's like, you know what? If I want to sign up for your program, I should be able to walk away and come back and do it under the right pretenses. I'm a huge believer of how you come into a program, whether this is a business program or your fitness program, is how the program will go. So if you bring someone into your program under the pretenses of scarcity or fast action, they're going to have unrealistic expectations about how fast they're going to get results and how fast they're going to get that money back. Right. But if it comes under a good situation, they're going to have a proper pacing expectation of what they can expect. It's going to be a much better relationship, and they're not going to be making decisions under scarcity where they sound desperate in their messaging and things like that. They're going to be coming from the right place of, like, they feel held and actually mentored by someone who feels like they have skin in the game too.
That's
Also,
solid.
Yeah.
All that to me just goes back to integrity. And, that's something that John and I have it's been hammered home to us through our mentors and coaches and the programs that we're involved in. And we've been really fortunate over the last couple of years to just have great examples around us of the way, in our opinion, the way it should be done.
Yeah.
And, you say you don't have anything against people that just show up in your DMs. Well, we do. And there's actually, John, I don't know if you're in it, but there's a Facebook group that we have for DM spammers, and the conversations that we troll back to those people are amazing. And so, like, it's mostly crypto Forex people,
Right.
But yeah. So but that's such a great point of how you operate is how you're going to be teaching them. And there's been plenty of times where John and I have been talking to people, and we're like, look, all this stuff we're teaching you guys, do you ever think why you're here? And they're like, oh.
Exactly.
But for them, it feels good because, I've been coaching for almost 20 years. John was in the gym for 12 years and still in the industry. So we still got a finger in the pulse. Like, I'm not preaching from a pulpit and not doing the work myself.
Right.
And neither is John. And I think there's something to be said for those who want to be business coaches still having, still having some skin in the game and understanding what's happening now, especially these last couple of years. Have you seen anything different in the business coaching realm since COVID hit?
Yeah, I mean, more business coaches, because a lot of those people, a lot of those people who, you know, may have had good businesses at the time in fitness, you can literally see on their feed, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, all of a sudden they have this like premonition about what they really should be doing. And truthfully, if you ask me, it's a matter of their businesses aren't going as well, but also they look at their friends list and they see way more opportunity for connections with personal trainers than they do with potential clients. Because what I always find, I talk to like probably 5 to 10 members every single day, most of them on Zoom, is that if you go to their friends list, they're friends with business coaches and they're friends with other personal trainers for some reason. They also obviously have their audience in there, but it's a really interesting mix. And so I think what happens is someone just looks at their friends list and they're like, man, I don't need to market to anybody. There's no cold audience here. I have more PT friends than I do weight loss prospects here. And I'm just going to switch gears and start marketing to them. And that's really what happens. And the issue is that most of the business coaches out there are really just teaching one model. It's not like real business coaching. They're just teaching you like how to do something that worked for them, but they don't have the business acumen to really give you personalized advice on how to run an actual business. They can only stay within their lane, which doesn't work for most people and doesn't really last that long, because that's not how you build a real sustainable business. This launch, deliver, launch thing is not a business. It's just a strategy for lead gen, and you can make a bunch of money and it looks good.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but could you expound on?
But it's not really how you run a business.
Could you expound on the launch, what you're just talking about, just so our audience understands?
Yeah. So most of the coaching programs out there are going to have you, you're gonna, it's all the same at first, right? You're going to start from the beginning. You're going to decide who you're going to want to serve. You're going to, pick your niche. You're going to develop your program. You're going to develop some kind of a launch sequence for that program. You're going to launch, and then you're going to spend the next 12 weeks delivering that program. But then you have to kind of like launch again, or else you're not going to have more people to enroll in the course. And you end up doing these launches, and they're stressful and they're not predictable, and you don't know how they're going to go. And then, however many people you get in that launch, you have to go back to delivering and serving those people because they signed up. And so what if 30 people came in your first launch? Awesome. What if I only get 10 in my next one? I still got to spend the time to serve those people. And now I have less time to focus on advertising. I have less time to focus on trying to market that. And so I can't get more people in. And so it's just this recipe for burnout that I've seen countless times, even from the really, really successful fitness coaches out there who do really well. I know a girl who had like a $70,000 launch, and then she got out of the game because it just wasn't sustainable for her. And she couldn't do that every single month. And it was just like running her ragged, because you're creating a really great, busy job for yourself, but you're not creating an actual business. You're just making a really busy job for yourself.
So that's a great point, man. You're getting me fired up, AJ. So I don't know if you remember this, Mark. I know you remember because we talked about this. Do you remember that Instagram personal trainer girl that was like real big, and then she got all that heat for like not delivering on any of her stuff? You remember that? Do you remember that, AJ? I think it was like last year.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It depends who it is, but I know a couple people.
I don't remember her name, but I would love to hear your thoughts on that process, because she got ridiculed and just destroyed online for just tons of people coming up going, dude, I bought this thing and like you won't even respond to my messages. So did you see that happen quite often?
I don't see that quite happen that often anymore, because I think people are just like you saw there, holding people accountable. And then I don't know, there was some person, we were talking about the same, who kind of had to like get offline and rebrand and reinvent herself and then kind of come back. And now I don't even know if she exists anymore online. But like, I don't know. For me, it's just a very good sign of why someone is in this industry, whether they're here for the money grab up front or whether they're here to actually serve people. And you can totally tell, because as soon as I give my money to someone, I expect, a bigger relationship with them, more conversation with them, access to them, not where you just get dropped into something and then become a number and no one knows anything about me or my business. And I just kind of have to go through it again, unless this is all the upfront offer, in which case, you have to know what you're paying for. But yeah, for me, that's not really mentorship. Mentorship is someone who feels like they're going into this with you. They're on that journey with you.
Right. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our FiPro collective coaching program that John and I run, it's nice to hear you describe all the shitty tactics, because we don't do any of that stuff.
Like, whoops.
and we're here to serve. And again, I love this industry. I wouldn't still be in it all these years, and John wouldn't either. And part of our motivation to do this was to help coaches that have been duped before, been misled, and have done the 6-week challenge thing and the launch, deliver over and over and over again, instead of just actually building a business and something that they enjoy and that's sustainable. Because part of my mission is still to make America fit again. And I can't do it by myself. Mm-hmm. And so the more good fitness coaches that we can keep in the industry and keep busy, and they can go and influence people, and those, the trickle down effect is huge. Mm-hmm. I love hearing what you're saying here, because it's for John and I, it's a good thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, here's the other truth is nobody gets into fitness for the money. Like, when I told my parents I was going to be a personal trainer instead of a physical therapist, you should have saw their face. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be a doctor. I'm like, I can't. No, I want to be a trainer. Dude, they still didn't know what I did for like 10 years. Like, dude, you teach classes, right? No, Mom, that's not what I do. But glad that you've taken so much interest in what I do. But at the same time, though, like you said, AJ, like we deserve to get paid what we're worth, and we deserve to be financially compensated for what we're doing for people. And at the end of the day, like, people aren't coming to the gym because they want a 6-pack. They want what that 6-pack is going to allow them to do in the other areas of their life, and also who they become in the process, which Mark is doing Mr. Miyagi conversations every day with his clients, doing the wax on, wax off. And I'm like, dude, you're changing that person's life, and they don't even know it. They think they're doing a burpee. That person's going to look up 5 years from now and be like, dude, I finally get what Master Mark was saying during that random session we were doing. And that's the magic in it. And if you're not in it for that, then you need to find another industry.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, we're in this for the impact over everything, obviously. And that's the way I see it too. Like, my group has 4,600 people in it now. And if I can help them find business coaches that are really going to deliver for them, they get the life that they want, they get the lifestyle, they get the business that they want, and we get to actually make the impact in the fitness industry that is necessary, because it's not working. Like, those stats are getting worse. People are not getting healthier. So what we're doing from the coaching and personal training standpoint and health standpoint isn't working. So let's give these coaches the opportunity to make the impact that they want, so that we can have the overall impact that we need in this country and in the world, because it's not getting better. We're not doing our jobs. So
yeah, for sure. I want to ask you, AJ, about pricing. Do you see a sweet spot for the price that business coaches charge? Do you have a metric that you recommend, saying, okay, well, if you're generating this amount of income right now, then you should be investing this percentage? Like, if somebody comes to you with that question of like, should I spend $300 a month or $5,000 or whatever it is, how do you go about that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I make recommendations, I always take a lot of things into account about that specific member that I'm talking to. So I want to know, what they're trying to do. First of all, is it an in-person thing or is it an online thing? Where they've been before, as far as business coaching, if at all, and where they are now in their business and where they like to go. I definitely ask about budget, because I think it's important too. But really, if someone's at a foundational standpoint, they don't need to spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on a program, because what people need to understand is the foundational aspects are all the same, right? Like, why spend $10,000 in a program to choose your niche and build out your program, when you can do that for most low-ticket programs, or self-paced courses are going to cover the same thing. And yes, you're still going to have to do your niche. You're still going to have to price your program and build out your program. So my recommendation is always, if you're just starting out, start out with an equally foundational course or low-ticket program, and then use the, like, fill in the gaps with a higher level, high ticket program that's going to serve you and fill those gaps, because there are them now. Like, you don't need niching anymore, but that high ticket program can help you with scaling, putting systems in place, automation, hiring, sales tactics, like the advanced techniques. But as a beginner, you don't need any of that stuff, and it would just confuse you, and you probably wouldn't, you would just overconsume it anyways. So again, for me, it's very dependent on where someone is in their business. And yes, that includes revenue, but also experience, and just, where they're at with things. Some people are making a whole lot of money, but they're flying by the seat of their pants. Like, they're lucky to be making that kind of money with the lack of systems and staff and things in place. But they're either going to burn out, or they're gonna go back and build the foundation right and go from there.
Yeah. In my experience too, man, is the same with working with fitness clients. Is I know when I got a fitness client, I had about 60 days to get them a win that was significant to them if I was going to have any chance of convincing them to keep going with this whole thing. So it's the same thing I've taken when I was running gyms to the trainers I coach now. Is I know I have a window of time that I have to get you some sort of a win, so that most importantly, you believe in your friggin' self and go, wow, I made 2 or 3 sales within the first 2 months. Cool. If you can do it 2 or 3 times, you can do it 200 times. And then, like you said, then you can fill in the higher level stuff. But I think it's important to design whoever you're working with to get some sort of quick win to help with the belief system, so that kicks in, and then more effort goes in, more work is done. And Mark and I know what happens when you do the work. You end up winning eventually, as long as you don't quit.
Yeah. And just setting realistic expectations, which is where I think a lot of as you said, the sham coaches, they're painting this vision of, $100,000 in 3 months and living on the beach and posing in front of the car. It's like, hey, is that what you really want? A lot of people think they want things that they have no idea why they want it. I want to make $1 million. But why? Like, for what? I can give you some reasons, but why do you really want to make that type of money? And a lot of people just have no answer for it. So, being realistic about what the deliverables are, what our clients are currently seeing. And just like coaching fitness clients, you don't come in and say, well, we're going to knock off 25 pounds in this first month. And then a month goes by and they lost 3 and they're pissed.
Yeah.
We're telling them, you know what, we may not lose any weight this month, but you're going to feel a lot better. And they lose 5 pounds and they're ecstatic.
Right.
So it's, under promise, over deliver always.
Agreed. 100%. That was it in fitness. And I think that's how it should be in business too. But I think that's the thing. Like, people aren't, I don't care how the marketing looks. People aren't living the laptop lifestyle that they appear to be. Okay. The successful people are working really, really hard. Don't think that you're not going to have to. It's just not how it works. I hate that term when it's used that way. And the other thing is, like, I really don't care if you can help me make $100,000 in 3 months, because I need to be able to do that repeatedly. So if your program's only good for, one big lead gen up front, and then my system falls apart because you didn't help me with foundation, you didn't help me with structure, you didn't help me with infrastructure, you didn't help me with retention or anything like that, it's meaningless. It's really good for a testimonial for the business coach, but it's totally doing a disservice to the business owner who wants a lifetime of $100,000 3-month periods.
Right. That's winning the lotto without earning the money right there.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So where do you see this business going for you? Where do you see the growth of the group, and what are your intentions moving forward with the FiPro Mentorship?
Yeah, so for FiPro Mentorship right now, we're obviously trying to get, we want as many people in there as we can. So we're using growth strategies right now because we want people to be exposed to this group as early as possible in their journeys, because I can't tell you how many times I hear on my calls with them, hey, I wish I'd found you a year ago. It would save me so much time, so much money, and so much energy. So we're really trying to just grow the group and get more eyes on it. At the same time, I'm always on the lookout for new and better high integrity coaches who are offering something different, who continuously overserve the industry like it deserves to be. And so I'm kind of always looking for that. We have some things coming down the pipeline. We're considering offering like a bridge program to help people be able to afford higher ticket mentorship programs. like there's kind of a gap. And so we're working on something that's going to be like stupid affordable for our members, because we're just here to serve. And if we can help propel people into larger scale mentorship programs, like we're not business coaches by any means, but if we can help propel people into those business coaching programs, we can help make that impact even further and even greater. And again, we're just matching people up with great business coaches. It's winning all around.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So cool. Like I said, just a super unique place that you occupy in our industry, and it's so needed. So, you know, if you're a coach, we'll put the links to the Facebook group and all that in the show notes. Make sure you get in this group. And even just to educate yourself, even if you're not in the market for business coaching right now, just to start to educate yourself of the good people that are out there, price points. You know, a lot of people have no idea. And I think the range is enormous, you know, from several hundred to several thousands of dollars. Oh, yeah. And so I think for any coach out there, it's just good to kind of get a pulse on what that looks like and start to figure out where you want to go with things when the time comes to really grow.
Yeah. And I think just from a standpoint of just connecting with other coaches that are wanting to do the same thing, you'll get gold nuggets just from being in association and proximity of those other coaches.
100%. Like the networking that goes on in the group is amazing. Okay. People make some really, really great connections, but also, you know, from a value standpoint, guys, like we have over 50 free trainings from the best fitness coaches or the best business coaches in the industry that our members have access to. So it becomes one of those groups where people don't even need to make any purchases yet. They can just come in and utilize the videos and the trainings in the group from world-class coaches. Things like, you know, starting a YouTube channel, you know, how to start a podcast, lead gen strategies, marketing, Facebook ads, copywriting, group growth and monetization, all that stuff, free trainings. So there's plenty of things that people can do that doesn't involve investing, where they can just get into position in their business and their life that they can make an investment. That's what we want. You know, I've been burned to the tune of $30,000 on business coaches. I'm still not jaded. I still believe you should have a business coach. I believe that you should do your homework, but mentorship is easily the fastest way for you guys to get to where you want to be, for Fit Pros to get to where they want to be in business, because it collapses the timeline that it would have taken for you to do it on your own and without some sort of a plan to follow.
I love it. I love it. You're awesome, AJ. So as we wrap this up, as John alluded to before, we got a couple rapid fire questions for you.
I'm scared. I'm nervous.
Never be afraid and always be afraid. All right, first question. What's your favorite sandwich?
There's this place in San Diego called Moto Deli, and they make like an Italian sandwich with hot peppers on it. I could do that all day.
Ooh. Yeah, I love that shit. It sounds delicious. What is your favorite land animal?
My favorite land animal is a lion.
Yeah. All right. We just had a buddy buy a llama.
Really? Why?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I saw a cougar on the way to the gym going through a neighborhood.
I have cougars that come into my gym every day.
I was gonna say, what are we talking about?
It took me a second. I was like, wait, see what you did there.
The lion's a good one though. That's the king right there. I like that.
There you go.
All right, last question. If you could have a billboard and you could put any message on that billboard for everyone to see, what would be the message on the billboard?
It would be surrender. Ooh. It would be surrender. Yeah. One of my when I was going through that period where I didn't know what the hell I was doing with myself and with my life, I read a book called The Surrender Experiment. Can't remember who wrote it, but it's essentially about this guy who dropped out of college and devoted himself to Buddhism and meditation. And he's like, I'm not going to try to do anything. I'm going to devote myself to getting to know myself and my own awareness. And he moves away into the woods. And by the end of the book, without going out and doing anything on his own or for himself, he is on his way to a sales meeting on his private jet to sell his software company for like billions of dollars. And it helped me realize is that I just needed to surrender and like listen to myself and listen to the things that I was telling myself about what I should do and the things that were going on in my life, not trying to force anything, but kind of just like let be how things are trying to be and just kind of surrender to that and go with that. You don't have control over anything. It's laughable that we try and plan things. So you just kind of have to go with it and just take life as it comes to you, because it always tends to work out.
I think you just became Mark's spirit animal.
Okay, you speak my language over here.
Yeah, I see you. I see you over there, Mark. He's like, ooh, stoicism.
Yes, we share that. We do
Oh
share
man, AJ, you are fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for your time, for being on here. Again, we'll put all your links in the show notes so people can go join that group. You are serving a much needed purpose in this industry, and we greatly appreciate it. Any parting words for our listeners?
Thank you, guys. No, I just, you know what, just show up to the group, come and get your business right, come and get your mind right. And I want to thank you guys for having me on. You guys are also doing a great service for the industry, so I have to shout that out too. I appreciate that. It's rare right now in this space, so I got to shout it out.
Appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, sir. So with that being said, Mark, should I send them off?
I think you should, man.
Yeah.
You got parting words too?
I got one more thing, but I forgot to say something earlier. If you enjoyed the episode, what are you doing? Hit us with the subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review. Help us help you and our brothers and sisters go get what they're worth by doing those things. You can even screenshot this and tag it on the IG at the FiPro Bros, which, God, I can't believe we got that name, Mark. You're so good. Anyway, share it out there so we can help our brothers and sisters. And as always, don't forget to go get what you're worth. Yeah. Damn good show. Damn good.
Damn.